Okay, well, thank you everybody, and welcome to this info session about the first year abroad program to Peru. We're excited to have you here. We're going to take about the next 15-20 minutes, talk a little bit about this program, what it entails, and then definitely have time to answer questions from all of you who are here. So we'll get things started by doing some introductions. Christy, why don't you start off?
Great. I'm Christie Klimas, and I'm the faculty program director. I lead this trip with Rod Waters, who is in housing and residence life. We're really excited to be working together. And my area of expertise is conservation and within environmental science and studies. I also look at economics. So I'm really excited to have this opportunity to sort of bring people to the beginning of the supply chain to talk about the people who make some of the things that we produce and how we should think about ourselves in this very global world.
Excellent. And I'm Scott Ozorowski. I'm the Associate Director in the Study Abroad Office. I help do all of the behind the scenes logistics as I work closely with Christy as we coordinate this program, coordinate the application process, and get all of you ready to head abroad, hopefully this summer. So, all right. So yeah, in terms of the coursework, this is a first year study abroad program. So hopefully all of you here are first year students. It is your focal point seminar class. That is your LSP 112 class. And we occasionally do have sophomores who do this program, especially if they were not able to take their focal point seminar in their first year, but primarily first year students. The class will take place in the spring quarter, Mondays and Wednesdays from 11:20 until 12:50. So as you are getting you ready to register for classes for spring quarter, just make sure to leave that time slot free in Lincoln Park. Because that will be a class that meets twice a week for the full quarter. And at the end of the quarter in June, here we go, Ariel's coming. The end of the quarter in June is when we have the whole group go abroad for that week and a half to kind of put the cap on the class. You'll also get registered in another 2-credit class, which is LSP 250, and that gives you credit for the time that you are abroad as well. So it will be 6 credits that will be enrolled in your spring quarter. If you're an honors student, then you will get Honors 102 credit as well as experiential learning credit. And if you are in a major that doesn't require a focal point seminar, or if you happen to be taking a focal point seminar already this winter quarter, you can still do the program and you'll get experiential learning credit, or it can go towards your open elective credit. So that's how that works. So Christy, take it away with kind of talking about the class and the time abroad.
Wonderful. So this class, we have a lot of people come to Peru because it's such a fascinating culture. It has ties to other countries, including the Caribbean. And some of what we talk about is the history of Peru and how that influences Peru today. So we do a little history and political conversations. In addition, um, we I sort of did a spiel in the beginning where I talked about the fact that um, why this topic? Well, a lot of times we buy things and the context, we don't know the person who's making those things. And this is intentional within our supply chain. So this allows us to really explore the people behind the production of some of the things. While we're in the Chicago, we focus on coffee and chocolate, and then we follow chocolate in particular back through Peru, along with artisan created goods like pottery. We will hopefully make our own chocolate if I can get them to come to DePaul. If not, we'll try to make a longer class period so that we can go to Chicago Fair Trade's museum and do some chocolate production in the city before we ever leave. And we also visit coffee roasteries to learn about the production process once coffee arrives in the US. Next slide. And then after we learn about some of the history and the culture and the supply chains of the products that we're looking at, as well as prepare for our time abroad, then we fly to Peru and we actually stay at a retreat center overlooking the ocean in Lima. That's where we start out. It's beautiful. You can walk to the beach, but it's a rocky beach. So if you're looking to sort of lay out on the beach, I don't recommend it. In Lima, we do a variety of different activities. We meet with producers. We actually go and see chocolate production at Candela, and Candela is a cooperative that works with cacao producers and some coffee producers as well in the Amazon region of Peru. So it's a really neat place to visit. While we're there, we also meet with an artisan group that creates and paints ceramics. We all get to paint our own ceramic. No one's ever offered me a job after my ceramic painting there. But we also try pachamanca, which I'll talk about in a little later, which is a traditional Peruvian food. And then a highlight of the course, at least from what I've heard from previous students, is we fly to Cusco. Cusco's at elevation, and we spend a day acclimating in Cusco, and then we go from Cusco to Aguascalientes, which is the launching point for Machu Picchu. It's considered one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's an Incan ruin that was, Europeans didn't know about it for a long time, and that kept it intact. So it's a really beautiful place. We go with a guide, and we walk around the ruins and learn about some of the pre-colonial history of Peru. And then while we're there, we actually will also visit a textile production factory and learn about wages and the sustainable production technologies they're using. I'm really excited about this. This will be the first time that we've done this. We try to mix up the activities. So this is a first for this trip. And then we will come back to Lima and we'll visit the Remembrance Museum, which is a museum that sort of chronicles some of the time of terrorism in Peru. And so that's sort of a look back into the history. So we'll talk about that in class as well. So there's a lot of different pieces of the trip, and it's a really wonderful way. I would say this trip has so much interaction with people in Peru, and it's a wonderful opportunity to connect and to learn at the same time. Here are some of the folks. So this is one of the ceramics workshops at the bottom. And actually on the left is, we were looking at jewelry making that year. And then on the top left, this is a community. And the senor on the far left actually has been recognized globally for his artistry in gourd carving. So he is phenomenal. He's taught most of the community to work in gourd carving, and it's a really beautiful artwork form. I mentioned that we talk about Peruvian delicacies on the sort of top middle, actually the whole top. You can see students enjoying pachamanca, which is a roasted dish. So you actually heat stones. You start a fire, you sort of put, you heat stones, and then you open that up and you put food on these heated stones, and then you cover it back up with some of these hot stones, and then you cover it up with other things. But oftentimes we have chicken, we have what look like tamales, but are not. And we have these legumes, and this is also a really exciting time to potentially try guinea pig if you're interested. We often have guinea pig as part of the pachamanca. You can also not try the guinea pig. So we've had strong feelings on both sides, and those are all options. But it's a really neat way to talk with the community as they share sort of this cultural dish with us. And while we're waiting for this, we also paint ceramics. And then we do a city tour. So we go through some of these historical areas in Lima's city center, and we talk about some of the history that's associated with that and how it's affected Peruvian politics to this day. This is on the left are some students where we're in Cusco, acclimating to the elevation prior to going to Machu Picchu. We will also go to the Coricancha Museum this year. And so this is where we had lunch, but it walks us through time in terms of the civilizations and cultures that have been part of Peruvian history to date. And we may or may not see natural textile production at the clothing factory that we're visiting, the textile production, but we have seen different artisan groups working on different things. And this was an example of textile production that we saw on a previous trip. And then this is Machu Picchu. So I've been told by a vast majority of students from all 5 or more of the trips that I've led that this is really a highlight and an experience that's worth remembering.
All right, so that's kind of a little overview of what the actual travel abroad will be, and then as well some of the course content for during the spring quarter. In terms of applying, I know everybody's kind of at a different stage here. If you have submitted your application already, excellent. If you have not, please make sure to do that by February 1st. You've got the next couple of weeks. You need to go to the First Year Abroad Peru program page. And if you have not done this yet, you click the blue button that says Apply Now, and that will open your application up. And then you complete the application questionnaire. It is pretty straightforward. There's just like 4 or 5 short answer questions about why you're interested in doing the program. You don't have to write long essays. So it's pretty easy to complete. Once you have submitted that, at the end of January and going into the first week or 2 of February, Christie and Rod will be doing some small group interviews with everybody who has submitted their application. This is not a high pressure interview. This is a kind of half an hour with a small group, asking a few questions, giving you a chance to ask questions, just a real get to know you each other, and also get to know some of the other students on the program that are applying for the program. So once you have submitted your application, be on the lookout for an email that's going to come from your program leaders to have you sign up for one of the group slots for those interviews. I will say as well, when you submit your application, you are automatically considered for our study abroad scholarships, for our main scholarships for the First Year Abroad programs. You don't have to do any kind of separate scholarship application. As long as you do this by February 1st and get your regular application in, you'll automatically be considered. Sometimes we do extend the application deadline another week or so if we've still got some spots available. But if you apply after February 1st, you are not automatically considered for the scholarships. So it is very important to get your application in by February 1st. The scholarships range, the smallest scholarships are around $1,000, and they ranged up to almost the full cost of the program for some students. So if you are somebody who money is a concern, I always give the advice, apply to the program, see if you get accepted, see how much scholarship funding you get, and then you can decide what you want to do. There's no application fee or anything like that. So if you get accepted, but you don't get the funding you were hoping and you're not able to make it work, you just say, no thanks, and you're all good. But every year we get students who say, oh, I almost didn't apply because I didn't think I could afford it. And then I got some scholarships. So I'm so thankful that I actually did the process and saw what happened so I could kind of make my decision and now be able to go. We do have additional outside scholarships that are available. So if you go on our Study Abroad website, there's an entire scholarship page that has a lot of links to those. Some of them are DePaul scholarships, where if you're a certain major, there might be special scholarship funding for study abroad. But there are also a lot of external scholarships, like national scholarships or other things that people can apply to. We do have a lot of students who do crowdfunding, like make a GoFundMe page where they get family and friends to donate some money toward it. And again, those are all extra things that you can look into, but the main scholarships you'll automatically be considered for. Once you get your application in, we'll do those group interviews in early February, and we'll let you know by sort of mid-February if you've been accepted, and if so, how much scholarship funding you got. And then if you do decide you want to move forward, our office will register you in those 6 credits of classwork in the spring quarter. So you don't need to register yourself in the class. We will do that for you. So you just want to leave some space in your schedule. Some students have a backup class that they put into their spring schedule just in case. And then once they see they've been accepted, they'll drop that class and we'll put them in. But I'll coordinate with you on that. And then in terms of the cost for the program, you pay tuition for the 6 credit hours, but that is just like regular classes. So as long as you don't take over 18 credit hours in spring quarter, there's no additional tuition cost. They are just like regular classes. All of your DePaul aid that you get, grants or scholarship, apply in the same way. So the additional cost is the $3,600 program fee. And that cost covers everything having to do with the travel. It's your round trip airfare from Chicago to Peru. It's your accommodations through the entire program. It's pretty much every meal. This is one of the programs that actually almost every meal is covered during your time there. All your activities, your excursions, your transportation. We give you international travel health insurance. So pretty much it is all inclusive. You've got a couple meals and a few little snacks here and there you have to cover, and then just any personal spending money, but everything else is covered by this program fee. And again, for the first year scholarships, which we have funding for, those could be anywhere from $1,000 up until almost the full cost of the program. So that's kind of how things work with the program cost. All right, so that's kind of the end of our information about the program, but we definitely want to answer questions that you have. So any questions that you might have, just unmute yourself, or if you need to put it in the chat, but whether it's about the travel, the class, the logistics of applying, finances, yeah, what can we answer for you? Oh, there we go. Criteria for the scholarships. Great question, Ariel. Yes, in terms of the scholarships, we look at two things. We look at your financial need and we look at your academics. And so we work with the financial aid office. So everybody who applies to one of the programs, we are in touch with financial aid and we get detailed information from the financial aid office to let us know what your aid level is of how much financial assistance you need. And then we look at your GPA. And so if you're a first year student, your GPA is pretty much your fall quarter GPA. So the students that are most likely to get the most funding are the ones who have a high demonstrated need from their FAFSA and have a strong GPA from their fall quarter. And that's how we determine it. We give the largest scholarships first to the students with the highest need and highest grades combined, and then we work our way down the list to try to give as much funding as we can to as many students who are in need of it. All right. If you do have a personal question, we'll stick around for a few minutes and feel free to stick around. But like I said, please make sure to get your application in if you have not already. And also, if you have any friends who are interested, please spread the word. Talk to your friends, your roommates, other people. One of the cool things about doing these programs is your whole class gets to go together and form a really cool bond as you do this exciting experience for about a week and a half. So talk it up with your friends, people you know, make sure that they apply as well, and we'd love to see you on the program. Thank you so much. We will stick around, like I
Thanks.
said.
Yep, and I'm happy if you want to reach out with any questions via email, happy to answer those. If you want to talk with someone who went on the Peru trip about 2 years ago, I'm happy to connect you with some of them. They would also be great resources as you consider study abroad.
Great. All right. Thanks so much, everyone.